afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us. President Richard Lariviere will be making a brief statement, and Athletics Director Mike Bellotti will be available to take questions. There will be a short time for questions following the statement.
Thank you all for being here. I also want to thank Mike for being here today. There have been a fair number of reasonable questions raised around Mike Bellotti's negotiated buyout, and I want to clarify the circumstances surrounding that buyout. Mike Bellotti is a great Oregonian, a very good man, who has served the university with integrity in a number of roles, and I count him as a friend. Athletic director. Athletics needs increasingly strong finance and business management. I saw this early in my tenure here. I decided that at some point a change of AD would be necessary. I learned about the opportunity with ESPN for Mike and determined that it was in the university's best interest to expedite the transition, and negotiations commenced for Mike's buyout. It was then that I learned the surprising fact that there was no contract in place for Mike Bellotti as AD. Now, $2.3 million is a lot of money, but I think it's a fair settlement based on the commitments made to Mike before I got here. Mike is an outstanding football coach, a committed employee, and a tremendous leader. Serving as AD requires a unique set of skills, and I want to make it clear, I encouraged Mike's move to ESPN. I made the decision to secure new leadership for the Department of Intercollegiate Athletics. The terms of the negotiated buyout are what I determined, based on the advice of counsel, to be a fair discharge of the university's obligations to Mike. No student tuition or state funds are or will be used. This buyout will not affect any of the other obligations of the athletic program. And let me also be clear, this institution did not follow acceptable business practices in the past. That will not be repeated under my administration. In conclusion, I want to emphasize that we all recognize the university's responsibilities as a public institution. Oregonians have a tremendous reason to be proud of the University of Oregon. This is a moment of opportunity and promise in the university's history, and Oregonians can be assured that we will pursue that opportunity and that promise in a manner that will make them both confident and proud. Thank you. Be happy to take any questions.
Richard, did you fire Mike?
Mike and I discussed the future of the athletics program extensively. I encouraged him to take advantage of this opportunity when ESPN began speaking to them. Mike's an icon at this institution in this state because of what he's achieved. And I wanted to respect that iconic status as much as possible.
But did Mike have a choice?
A choice for?
The question was he fired? Did he have a choice whether he was going to stay or go?
Mike and I came to an agreement whereby he would resign and we would buy out his contract.
So did you fire him?
Tell me what that means. I told Mike that we were going to have a change of an athletic director. I was struggling with when and how to effect that, and when the ESPN deal came up, that seemed the right moment. I felt that I had to explain to Mike what the options were before he made the decision regarding ESPN.
Did you make a decision about his future before the ESPN opportunity came up?
Yes.
From what you commented here, Mr. President, have you suggested that the Mike Bellotti problem that we're facing now is something created by your predecessor, President David Frunmeyer?
I don't know enough about the circumstances that led us to this moment yet to comment on that. I'm hoping that the investigation of the Attorney General and the audit by the Oregon University system will help clarify that, both of which I welcome with enthusiasm.
Richard, clarify where this money will be coming from, this $2.3 million.
This will be donor funds.
Individual donors or from a trust?
It will be from a collection of donors.
Is this money that's being donated, new money being donated specifically for this purpose, or is this money that was previously donated to the athletic department?
It'll probably be a mixture of both.
President, will there be any donors who, for instance, gave donations in connection with their football tickets, for instance, who don't know that this is where the money is going?
I'm not sure I know who knows where any money is going within when they give money for tickets. This will be a fund from a specific set of donors using already existing funds as well from specific donors.
And will this cause the athletic department to have to draw more heavily on the legacy fund than it otherwise would have?
It's my expectation that it will not do so.
How did you come up with the number 2.3 million? What is that contingent on?
Well, we found ourselves in the very odd situation of not having a written contract, and that is a very odd situation, I must say. So what we had to do is sit down and look at the promises that had been made to Mike, undocumented though they may have been, and come to what we thought was the fairest accommodation possible. It was not certainly everything that Mike wanted. It was more than I wanted, but I think it was a fair and reasonable discharge of the university's obligations to Mike.
A lot of people see this sum of money in these economic times, and they just can't get past the sum. As much as many people like Mike Bellotti, they can't get past the number itself. Can you just address the number?
I'm not sure what you mean by address the number.
2.3 million is a lot of money.
Yes.
Why, can you be more specific about why you settled on 2.3 million?
Yes, our reasoning was basically that Mike, the longest contract Mike could have had under the circumstances that we saw was a 2-year contract. He had already fulfilled one of those years, and so the amount was based on the remaining portion of his contract, putative contract, plus other commitments that had been made to him verbally.
So could you explain that notion of the 2-year contract under these circumstances? 2 years is the longest contract. Can you explain that?
3 years.
Oh, 3 years.
Yes. No one documented the commitments made to Mike. We did not have a written contract, and so Mike and I were literally confronted with working in this vacuum and coming to this negotiated buyout.
I have a question for Mike. When did ESPN contact you?
ESPN contacted me initially. We have conversations all the time due to my role as athletic director, and they contacted me sometime during football season about would there be any interest as I was doing the color broadcasting for OSN, and I said, yeah, possibly. And talks continued on through December and January, but no contract occurred, no contract offer until March 16th.